What's going on, everybody? Hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving. My name is JP, and as always, you're listening to the 1265, a podcast 100% focused on the Green Bay Packers, brought to you by All Wisconsin Athletics, All Wisconsin, All Athletics, all the time. Joined by my right-hand man, Arrick. Arrick, how was your Thanksgiving?
Pretty good. A lot of football going on. Always makes for a good day. The Bears lost, so can't really...
But we actually wanted the Bears to win, so
yeah, I know.
we got to know how Bears fans feel when you're let down every week, I guess.
It's always, that was a situation where I was good either way, win or lose. So
today we have a very special guest, Packers all-time leading rusher and Packers Hall of Famer, Ahman Green. Ahman, thank you so much for joining us, man. How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was good. Pretty much ate till, as we say, the itis. So I got sleepy and did the same thing. Watched football. I don't know if it was college on, but it was a lot of pro games. It was 3 pro games on. Watched all 3 of them and enjoyed that. I think we ended up going to the movies later to see Hunger Games.
Nice. You like that one?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yes, it was. To get set up for part 2 of Mockingjay. So yeah.
Yeah, my wife went and saw that on Wednesday, and she just made a big thing of it. Her and her friends, and
yep.
She's like, "Oh my God, Hunger Games!"
Yep.
But well, everybody knows who you are, man. But there might be somebody who's a newer Packer fan that might not know much about you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey to Green Bay?
Well, I mean, if you want to journey to Green Bay, it starts in I'll say from high school. I'll start at high school. I don't need to go all the way from there.
All right.
I just know I was born in Nebraska, and but I say Little League was out in Los Angeles, California, where I was raised, and then we moved back to from Nebraska from California. So obviously that was a life change because sunny weather and 80-degree Christmases to back to normal 4 seasons of weather. So for me, it wasn't the weather change; it was more friends and what I thought girlfriends and people who I already met and all the way up until 8th grade, so I thought my world was over, But we, get back to Nebraska, and I get reconnected with my family, my brothers. I had 2 older brothers, older sister, and a ton of cousins. And so I got to know them, and then got into football right away with one more year Little League football. Actually, with the boys club team there, we were actually the Bears.
Oh wow!
Yep. And I wore my guy's jersey. I wore 34, and we had a good season. We won the city championship, and then I didn't play freshman year of high school. They actually wanted me to play varsity, and I would have been a backup running back, but I was actually too smart for my own good. I saw how big the guys was. I was only like 150 soaking wet my freshman year. So I was like, nah. So that's why I played Little League ball. But then sophomore year, picked up 10 pounds. I was like 160, 165, somewhere in there. And then started as a sophomore at Omaha North. Then had an okay year. I say okay because I say from a team standpoint, we went 5-4. We didn't make the playoffs. We were a young team. And then for myself personally, I got 1,000 yards rushing as a sophomore. Right over. I was like 1,017, literally right on the.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah. For a sophomore year, first year of high school for varsity. But then I transferred schools. The reason why I transferred, my mom, she noticed. She was doing her job as a parent, noticing my grades in terms of, not my grades, but my SAT, PSAT, you take the practice stuff, practice taking the test to get into college, and they weren't equaling out because I had a 4.0 GPA, and I wasn't passing the ACT or the SAT. So doing her job as a parent, she's like, you're transferring schools because this doesn't make sense. And so I ended up going to the high school that she graduated from. All my brothers went to was Omaha Central, and is a very big traditional high school, and at that time we were probably at that high school was the only high school that did college prep classes. So when I say tradition, the sports aspect, we had very good sports at Omaha Central. We had my mom actually went to high school with Gail Sayers and Bob Gibson, not Bob Gibson. I don't know, it was a baseball player. I'm just trying to remember his name. He pitched for St. Louis back in the day, but it wasn't Bob Gibson. Anyway, it'll pop back in my head, but. So the high school was full of tradition in terms of sports, and actually we had Marlon. I know Marlon Brando went to the high school too,
really?
So we had a little bit of everybody coming out of there.
Out of Nebraska, I would have never thought.
Exactly. So I went there junior year, had a real good year. I actually shared the carries with one of my best friends to this day. His name is Damian Morrill. He led the state as a sophomore with like almost 1,800 yards rushing.
Very cool.
So I came in as a junior, me and him the same years, and It was all, in the newspaper, how you going to split carries between two decent running backs. And
did you guys have like a smash and dash type of thing?
We kind of did.
Yeah.
It was like, at that time, you got to remember, this was like 1993.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when Dallas Cowboys were playing good and all that. So he was more of the smaller type back. We called him. His nickname was either Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith. And I was like Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare, because I was faster, but I like to hit people.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing's changed since I was in high school. 2 years at Central. Me and him, me and Damien, we pretty much was either 1 and 2 or in the top 5 of state rushers for our junior and senior years. And then on to Nebraska, scholarship there. My whole idea of going into Nebraska and picking colleges when I was getting recruited was basically, obviously, what my education, what my degree might be, and then a chance to win a national title. I just didn't want to go to college to be in college, to be a college football player. I wanted to go to college and win a championship, win games, win a lot of games, conference championships like that. So my top 5 were all guys at that time that was in the top 10 or top 20. It was Nebraska, it was Arizona, it was Penn State, it was Notre Dame, it was Michigan. And I didn't take a visit to Penn State. They wanted me to verbally commit prior to my visit. So I was like, no, I know how to. I learned how to, what recruiting was about. I was like, I don't want to lie to you guys, so I'm not going to come. So I took 4 visits: Nebraska, Arizona, Michigan, Notre Dame. And it actually came down to between Nebraska and Arizona. So have that West Coast connection. I took my visit. I knew a ton of guys out there. And guys I played Little League ball with or against, I was like, man, I know you, this would be fun, And it wasn't Los Angeles because, trust me, Los Angeles, if you know a lot of people, you get in a lot of trouble. So I was like, I wanted to go and focus on school and football. So that was how Arizona was in the mix, and then boiled down to it was Nebraska because I just want to stay closer to my family, so they could come 50 miles, to watch me play football, So it's like if I was from Green Bay, it's 2 hours from Camp Randall, so it's great. Yep. For every weekend my family to come down, and then boom. My 2 years, like I said, did my Nebraska years, and things went good, freshman, sophomore. Actually, sophomore year I had a turf toe and then a broke foot at the end of the year, but I still finished with 900 yards rushing. And then, so freshman year won the national title. Sophomore year did it again. We were trying to three-peat, but that's that sophomore year. My sophomore year, that's where I had a whole hurt foot. But we actually had a good year. We got tripped up right at the end in the Big 12 championship. We got beat by Texas. They had a quarterback named James Brown that actually beat us, so that was interesting. But next year, junior year, we won the Big 12, won the national title, beat Tennessee, beat Peyton and Tennessee.
Wow. So explain that feeling a little bit of winning the national title. You got the confetti, everything. That's what you wanted out of a college, like.
Right. It was, as I said, so it happened right away, my freshman year, because I had the opportunity to play a lot. Before Lawrence Phillips got in trouble, I was still playing a lot because we averaged 50 points a game. So come early third quarter, I was in. And then that maybe 5 minutes of the third quarter and 12 minutes for college or 15 minutes for college quarters? I forgot.
It's 15.
Yeah, 15 minutes of college quarter. So 20 minutes of gameplay, I probably would get 100 yards easy.
Wow.
And I was just coming off the bench. And so then he got in trouble, and then I became the starter after about 3 or 4 games. Guys got injured that was in front of me, and then it's just the way the ball bounced. And I got my opportunity, played, and did my job. Filled in the role of the running game, and we still average. We were still averaging 400 on the ground, 50 points on the scoreboard, and it helps when you got guys like Tommy Frazier as a quarterback, the black shirt defense. When we were the black shirt defense, it was a reason why they had them black shirts, and we as offensive players respected that, and we knew that, and so that's what I said. Freshman year, I did it right away, and so it was a different feeling because I was a freshman. I was kind of jumping on, kind of hanging on the guys that already got us there the year before because they beat the Hurricanes. But then junior year was a little bit more special because I was the leader. I was the team captain. I was one of the guys everybody was looking up to, just like I was my freshman year, looking up to Tommy Frazier, Brooke Behringer, Doug Coleman, Grant Wisham, Jason Peter, Christian Peter. I was looking up to them guys, Lawrence Phillips, but now I was in their shoes now, following. And so I had guys like Mike Brown, Ralph Brown, let's see, who was a freshman? Oh, Dominic Raiola, he's the center for the Detroit Lions. Yeah. He was a freshman his my junior year. Cal Vandenbosch, they were freshmen, so they've, I took the lead now, so it was great to do that. And then from what I accomplished on the college level, from a sports aspect, I felt I was ready to go into the draft and education-wise, no matter what was going to happen to me, I was going to come back and get my degree, which I did in 2003.
Yep.
It was geography. It was computer science going in, and just my football schedule was just too hectic to keep that lab time, available to go and write code, which I wanted to do. So I still might do. I still have time. I still might do it. There's always time to write code. So from there, I went to I got drafted. Went to the draft. Went to the combine. Got drafted, and it was Seattle. And for me, it was like I didn't care where I went, as long as I went where I could play football and prove myself, just like I did at the high school level and the college level. And because I knew if I had the opportunity and everything, teammates and everything kind of worked together, that they'll stick. Everybody could see what I can do. And so rookie year was a little, it was only rough because it was all learning, because I'm in a new city, big city. In Seattle, which is actually a nice city, great city. I actually one thing I miss about playing there was the city, getting traded, because it was always something to do. I mean, you're in a technology country. Everything you turn the corner is Google, it's Amazon, Microsoft. I had neighbors that were we called them softies. That was their nickname. And so talking to them on a daily basis and walking my dog, I was like, dang, I can't wait in 5 and 10 years. What this city's gonna be like. And of course, it's an amazing place. But that's where I got my opportunity. Special teams. I became the special teams, I say, guru, as every NFL calls. I kind of learned the tricks of the trade real quick, and started to get double and triple teamed, because I was drawing a lot of attention, because I was going out making a lot of tackles and a lot of big hits. And then from there on, just my hard work, learning the playbook. I became the third down back, probably like halfway through the year, so backing up Ricky Waters. And then same thing second year. It was special teams right away, and then a little bit more offensive time, because Ricky was a little older, so it was third down, but sometimes if it was a 4th and 1 or maybe a second, or sometimes I would get a whole drive. It wasn't just third down situation. And then from that's when Mike Holmgren and Mike Sherman, his coaching staff that left here, that went out to Seattle, took over, and that's where Sherman, I spotted his eye, and then he took the job here, and then him, Ron Wolf, and all Holmgren talk, got me here, and Mike Holmgren, I was in his doghouse because I was supposedly a fumbler, and then boom, I'm here. I'm a Packer. And then, as I say, keep it short. The rest is history.
So it wasn't as much of like, we want you out of Seattle. It was more of, we want you in Green Bay. Right. From Sherman.
Yeah, because the fans and the players, I know my teammates, Walter Jones, mainly one, because he was one of the big guys that blocked for me. He was like, when I came in the locker room to get my stuff, he was like, dude, man, I couldn't wait till next year. He said he was gonna kill it, because he loved the way I hit the hole. He's like, God. He's like, all right, because they did. And the next day they drafted Shallon Alexander in the draft. But yeah, everybody on the team was like, what the hell's going on? It's like, you're the best running back we got. So it was interesting.
Very cool. We have some questions from our fans on our Facebook page, the 1265 Report. Aaron from Chicago wants to know, did you want to go for it on 4th down? There were 2 4th-down plays.
In the Philly game. I already know where you're going with this.
Did you want to go for it?
Every time.
Every time, right?
I was that. If you watch that game, if they show it on NFL Films, or if you go to NFL Now, they might have it. That was the only time. You know how you see players get pissed off on the field? They're jumping, or they're fist pumping, like, Coach, do this. That was the only time, if it was a camera on me, because I was jumping, I was totally going bonkers, because I'm like, don't be scared. I know we got stopped in the first half on going into halftime. So what? That was that play. To do it again. We're averaging 9 yards a carry. They couldn't stop the run. I was like, I could fall 4 yards. At worst case, I'll get 2. And then at the best case, I'll break out for another 50-yard run and score, because we're on the 30. So yeah, I would have went for it. We wanted. We all wanted to go for it.
Well, and I remember one of them was like 4th and 3 on like their 36 yard line. Yeah, it was like,
I think that was one of them. We still wanted to go. Yeah, and we still wanted to go for it.
Do you ever think about that game?
All the time.
I
mean, but I think about my whole career. I think about every little tidbit, the good stuff, the bad stuff, because I love playing. I miss it, and I say that's what's got me over it quicker, because I don't deny it. I never say, oh man, I don't miss it. I did for about a year, but I was lying to myself. But yeah, I do miss the game. I wish I could play it now, but I'm happy where I'm at, doing what I'm doing. I love watching the guys play. Eddie and them guys, Aaron, Jordy, Randall, some of them guys I play with. So it's a sport that I love, and like I said, enjoy watching.
Awesome. And then we got another question from Erin from Chicago. She wants to know, what do you think was the difference between Green Bay and Seattle that led to your success?
I don't know. Because I felt if I would have been there that next season, the 2000 season, my opportunity would have presented itself. So it was just time. It was just timing, because I think if I would have stayed my senior year sometimes and what I would have done my senior year, if I would have, because I was a Doak Walker finalist my junior year. I was seventh, and Scott was actually seventh in Heisman. Scott Frost, my quarterback, he was seventh in Heisman battling, and I was eighth. We were like neck and neck. So we kind of canceled each other out on first place votes there. So, all that stuff was, and I think about it all the time. But, from the turn to Seattle, I think it was just timing. Like I said, when I got drafted, they had just signed Ricky Waters to a 5-year contract. So they had to honor that to a point. And but I think eventually, coaches know player. Good coaches, they know when they got to put a guy in. They'll deal with the other stuff later. So I think they were just timing.
Nate from Green Bay wants to know: do you play fantasy football? If so, who's on your team?
Oh man, I play. I'm in 4 leagues this year. I was in 5 last year, and that was by mistake.
Let's go with your best team.
The best
that you got this year.
I don't have my phone on me, darn it. Well, I'll do this. I know all my quarterbacks. I know Aaron. I have Peyton. I have Matt Stafford. I have Russell and Kaepernick, and between all 4 leagues. I have Frank Gore. I have Chris Ivory. I have picked up Trey. Was it Trey from the Rams?
Trey Mason.
Trey Mason. I picked him up later. He started to get more burn. Wide receivers, I have Megatron in 1 league.
Sounds a lot like my team, but I'm not doing so hot.
Yeah, I got Mohamed Sanu in another league. I have Peyton Manning's his receivers. I have Emmanuel Sanders and Demarius Thomas in another league. Defenses, my defenses has been San Francisco, Seattle, which has kind of been because Seattle's kind of been up and down. Yeah. In another league, I got Eagles and Cardinals defense, and then I think kickers, I got Mason, and then I have Tucker from Baltimore and Parkey from Eagles because they're scoring a ton of points.
Yeah, I have Parkey too.
He got me 13 points yesterday, or this Thanksgiving weekend.
The week before that, I benched him, and he had like 20-some points.
Right, I've been starting him ever since I picked him up. It's been ridiculous. That's pretty much, let me see, tight ends has been between Travis Kelce from Kansas City, Jason Witten, and let me think, I know I have one more tight end I go between. My old teammate, Owen Daniels, plays for Baltimore, used to be with Texans with me. So that's kind of my tight ends, and I think I covered every little area. Yeah.
Danielle from Green Bay is curious as to what your favorite play was during your tenure with Green Bay.
I had a lot. Like I said, it was all great timing. I'll say, I bring up different ones all the time. I'll just say, probably, one fun play that it had nothing to do with me because the only thing I was involved in, I was on the field was Antonio Freeman's catch in the 2000 season against the Vikings. Yeah. When it was rainy game, Monday night overtime, and I was in on the play. Actually, I chipped and got to the flat, so we didn't need to score. We could just drive down, but I was there for the outlet pass. But I guess Brett threw that thing up to Antonio, covered with Chris Dishman, and almost got picked. But Chris Dishman, if somehow it went down his leg, the laws of physics still is amazed when you watch that video. Yep. How it rolled down his leg into Free's hands, and I'm probably like 15 yards from Antonio. I'm like, get up, Free, run. I don't know if he heard me, but I'm like, run. And he got up, ran, scored a touchdown, and Lambeau leaped and all that. So to be in on that play was very cool.
And Eric's a huge Brett Favre fan, so I'm going to have him answer this last one here.
All right.
Isaac from Eau Claire wants to know, what's your favorite moment playing with Brett Favre, and was there anything that stood out about him?
Oh, man. Well, I'll answer the second part first. The things that stood out about him was the fact, his leadership, and it wasn't really like he was like doing it purposefully. It just was him.
Yeah.
And that's how I coach high school now, and I tell kids that play quarterback for the team I coach at Southwest. I tell them at Green Bay Southwest that that's what you just gotta show it. You can't don't act it. Just let it be you, and then everybody else will notice it in the huddle. And that's kind of what Brett did. Yeah. It wasn't nothing like he was trying to. Okay, I'm gonna be a leader. Like he was saying, I'm gonna be the leader of this game. No, he just did it, and it was just natural. Plays or things that just stood out. Just the way he played every game. You probably heard everybody say it on NFL Network or ESPN. Anybody talking about Brett, he went out there and just played. it wasn't really a thing for him. Like, unless he wanted to win. He wanted to play hard, I'll say. But it was more just to go out there and have fun, be a kid about it. And I say that took care of itself in terms of playing well and winning games. I think that's why he has a lot of the stats. He has a Super Bowl, as MVP, because he went out there and just played the sport. Wasn't worried about how much money he was making for throwing touchdowns or whatever. He just wanted, hey, I want to play. I'm having fun with my friends. That's kind of how his attitude was, or is.
Do you have any questions for Ahman, Eric?
No, I just basically was going to touch on the Favre thing. Just it had to be pretty awesome to play with him as long as you did. And a lot of people have different, there's a lot of different opinions out there about him. And being as, you know him a lot more than a lot of other people do, and you've seen sides nobody else has of him. Yeah. So, I would say great guy, on and off the field, great teammate, And I would say, like you say, for everybody saying anything about Brett or any other NFL player or pro athlete, we're human too. Right. People got to remember that. We might be, we might seem, like we're superheroes, and because he likes Superman. He had a little Superman tattoo. I won't tell everybody where it is. It's an undisclosed place of his body. But he had a Superman tattoo. I had a Batman tattoo, so he had that Justice League connection there. And but yeah, he's human. And we are not perfect. We make mistakes, but but it's a lot of good with him too. He has a family, wife, kids, grandkids. I actually texted him when his daughter became a mother, and I'm like, dude, you old when you have a grandson, you still playing in NFL. Now you old. That's official.
Yep. I have a question for you. Melvin Gordon. Is he the real deal?
Oh, yeah. I've been watching him since high school.
Because I know Wisconsin running backs got that whole it's the line thing going on. But
listen, he could have went anywhere. He kind of, I don't like to talk about myself a whole lot, but I like to compare him to myself. Yeah. Because he has that extra gear, and he makes it look real easy. And he's just so fortunate enough that Wisconsin got the chance to recruit him and get him here. Because like I said, I've been watching him since high school. He ran against my stepson in track. And,
in Kenosha?
Yeah, Kenosha Bradford. My stepson went to Oak Creek High School. And so football and track, I saw him run. And so I was like, man, where did this kid go? They getting a special guy. And then off the field, his character off the field was even better because I remember my stepson kind of showed me where he's at, and we kind of introduced each other. And he's like, "How you doing, Mr. Green?" And I told him, "Man, just keep working hard. Everything that you want to work for is going to be there if you keep the right attitude." And grades were good, and obviously it is. He's now have the single season rushing record, single game rushing record, and for whatever reason, if he might stay another year, he'll break all the records. But I doubt if he does. And he's a redshirt, so he kind of has that kind of okay to go. Especially if he doesn't get the Heisman, I'm gonna go to New York and hold everybody hostage.
Yeah, because it's crazy.
Because it's crazy. I've been watching college football since I was a kid, so I'm more of a purist of the sport. So I'm not like biased to anybody. Because when I see good talent, you see good talent. You can't deny it. And I've been watching it since, like I said, when he was at Kenosha Bradford. So he's amazing.
What's crazy?
So I like him. I hope he'll get drafted. I'm just hoping, hopefully, the team he goes to knows how to use his talents.
What's crazy to think about too is where Melvin Gordon went to school. Trey Waynes in Michigan State.
Okay.
This is like the same area, like probably a couple blocks away.
Okay.
So. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for answering our questions, man.
Problem.
Thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
It was a lot of fun. You can follow Ahman Green at AhmanGreen30, correct?
Correct.
On Twitter. Follow myself at Mr. Paradise24 and Mr. Eric here at Eric Upton. Thank you, and enjoy the game.